I don't know what's going on with these churches, but we really need to stop allowing these type of things to happen. And it starts with the people holding their leadership accountable. Let's talk about it. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Blue. This is this channel where we find the truth, seek understanding, and be the light. So, guys, this is disheartening. I know I just did a video in regards to Pastor Jamal Bryant and his wife. This is the issue that I have. And this is the thing that I'm going to continue to say. People will say that those that keep talking about the black churches and trying to demonize them and stuff like that, we're not trying to demonize. We're trying to hold them accountable. Are there plenty of white churches that does these type of things as well? Yes, but we're not white. We have to correct our own before we go out and correct other people. And these churches doesn't seem to want correction. So what we're doing is trying to make this apparent to the people so that they don't fall into these churches and be misled. That's what we're doing here. So, interestingly enough, Pastor Elijah McDavid, I have absolutely no clue who this pastor is. I know that he's in a sticky situation, and it's weird the way that he addresses it to his church. Let's just go ahead and go into these videos and see exactly what's going on.
Some in our church, we experienced a whole lot this week, and it's left our community wondering and questioning, what does the future look like?
He's talking about in regards to his actions when it came out. This happened literally Christmas week.
Accomplished a whole lot together as a church family in chapter 18. We had some beautifully victorious seasons that we ought to be proud of in chapter 18. But right now it's a chapter 19 moment. And a lot of people are hurting. And if I can be honest, your pastor is hurting. May not have experienced all the dark tears of depression that the biblical Elijah wrestled with, but I can be honest and say I've cried a whole lot these last 3 months. And there have been some moments where I asked God, why? And so, with your gracious understanding, I would like to take some time to do what the biblical Elijah did. To go away to the mountaintop for a few days and allow the Spirit of our merciful God to replenish me, to recalibrate me, and restore me. I want to be better before we resume the work of prophetic ministry. I believe that on the other side of a refueling moment, we can have more chapter 18 victories ahead of us. And for those who might be uncertain about if there's victory ahead of us, I am confident in this, that even when the preacher, even when the members, even when a leader is going through it, even when we are broken and hurting, God knows how to touch us and minister to us and whisper to us in the stillness of the night, just as he did for the biblical Elijah, he can do for any of us. I'm confident in that. And so, beloved, as I prepare for a short time away, allow me to encourage you to never allow anything to interrupt the life of our church's worship. Don't allow anything to interrupt the life of our church's worship. I heard a whole lot on the internet this week, but I'm not going to allow that to interrupt my prayer life. And I would advise you that you shouldn't allow it to interrupt yours either. We've had some moments of victory right now, walking through a valley of defeat. But I've taught you before, fellowship, that whether in victory or in defeat, our task remains the same. We shall lift our eyes beyond the hills because we know where our help comes from. And we're confident in that.
That's so weird. If you guys saw the video that I just did in regards to Jamal Bryant and his wife, he used the same verse. Interesting.
Great and holy help. As I prepare to take this brief leave of absence, I do also today.
He said brief leave of absence. Bro, you should be taken off the pulpit for a while. Not brief, not no 3 days. This should be 3 years, something to figure out your marriage, figure out your situation, get your life together. The deacons, the board, the church should be in one and saying, yo, you need some time, bro, because you're wrestling with some sin that's apparent. And you need to take care of that before you lead the flock. Is everybody perfect? No. But if you have a sin issue that you're wrestling with right now, go take care of that, bro. Go take care of that.
I want to offer a wholehearted apology to this church family. You all have had to hear some hard things this week. And while what you've heard is misleading, I recognize that what you've heard still causes pain. It tarnishes our reputation as a church. It makes some question the spiritual well-being of our institution. And perhaps worst of all, it evokes memories of church hurt and trauma that all too many of us have had to live through time and time again. And
Don't be the trauma that's causing the hurt. It's just plain as simple. And if you just so happen to be accountable, and apologize. This doesn't sound like an apology by no means. This sounds like, yo, we go through something, then it's all good. Like, it's literally like, yo, everything's all good, babe. Even though, when I did what I did, we're still good. Everything's all good. No accountability, bro. I'm not feeling it. If I was sitting in this congregation, I would have left.
My heart, I'm deeply sorry that because none of you should have had to experience hurt like this on the week of Christmas.
There's the apology.
I hate that.
Wait, so is he sorry that this happened, or that he was exposed, or is he sorry that he was exposed during Christmas? I don't understand. Like, would it have been better if it was New Year's, if it was Halloween? Okay, I need to stop being petty because I don't know his emotions. I know that it's a man that fell to lust, and that's not a pretty sight. It's just the idea of the fact that he said a brief leave is crazy to me. This is a serious situation that you're in. How is this brief? A whole divorce process isn't even brief. It takes a while. And you think you're just going to be out for a brief time period and come back? I don't know, y'all.
A private matter became public. However, I will stand here today and boldly stand by my decision to dissolve my marriage so that I can be physically safe and mentally whole. And through all the noise, I want you to know I'm grateful to be alive. And so I ask that you would pray for our church.
She looks like...
Pray for my family.
She knows exactly
what's going on. Pray for everybody who's been involved and touched by this situation.
She looked like she not having it.
Know that I love my fellowship family and that stepping away even for a brief moment is hard, but I'm confident that the same Holy Spirit that has sustained us through 5 years of victory seasons will continue to be with us even in my absence. And
Okay. So what do we learn from this? I don't even think I even said exactly what's even going on, but we'll leave that for the next part. I alluded to lust. But I didn't say exactly what's going on. We'll leave it to the next part for the wife to determine. So this is what he said. This is what he said to his congregation. Wasn't specific on the details or anything like that. The only real part is that he will be leaving briefly. He'll be leaving the church. And then on top of that, that he will be dissolving his marriage, that he will be dissolving the marriage with his wife for his safety. Now, if you guys remember, I bring this up time and time again, and normally I would just say, yo, I've told you guys this before, but repetition is key. is discipline and is key to really understanding the word when we come around these situations. 1 Timothy chapter 3. Let's go through the qualifications of an overseer. The saying is trustworthy. If anyone aspires the office of overseer, he desires a noble task. Therefore, an overseer must be above reproach, husband to one wife. I don't even know. Now, that's even a question. I don't even know what that means in regards to divorced husbands or divorced pastors who remarry. Sober-minded, self-controlled, somebody that is heavy in lust and has been taking actions by lust, lacks self-control. So automatically disqualified from my book and from books of the church, per my understanding. Respectable, hospitable, able to teach, not a drunkard, not a violent, but gentle, not quarrelsome, not a lover of money. And he must manage his whole house well, with all dignity, keeping his children submissive. For if someone does not know how to manage his own household, how will he care for the church? Even if you don't have children, that means your wife. The wife is part of your household. Just because you don't have kids doesn't mean that you have a household. If you cannot manage your house, your wife, have self-control for yourself, how can you care for God's church? He must not be a recent convert, or he may be puffed up with conceit and fall into the condemnations of the devil. Moreover, he must be well thought of by outsiders, so that he may not fall into disgrace, into the snares of the devil. So, based off of everything that we've seen thus far, he's divorcing with his wife. There's something that's going on with them in which he then has to take a leave of absence. He doesn't get into specifics what it is, and that's absolutely fine up to an extent. Actually, I'm not even sure if that's okay for pastors to just take a leave of absence and not say what it is that's going on. If it was a public matter, and let's say this was an issue, the church doesn't know of what it is that he's doing, which I still haven't gotten specifics as to what happened. We'll let the wife do that in the next video. So he hasn't said exactly what's going on. The church doesn't know what's going on. If he then takes a leave of absence, and it's a legit leave of absence and not just like, just a month or two type thing, then I think with due time, there, for the congregation's sake, there is some explanation that will need to be had once we've recovered from the situation, once we've rejuvenated ourselves spiritually and kind of got ourselves in the right mind to where he can then lead again. I think that can be okay. But if it's already been put out in public what has been done, I think you should express that yourselves, what was done, what has taken place, why it has happened. Because it's called accountability. Because now the whole church is keeping another fellow human being, because you are just a human being, accountable for what it is that you've done and hoping for your recovery in the situation. But if the church doesn't know wholeheartedly what is going on, then who is it that's going to be holding you accountable during this time of your leave? Who knows, right? Who knows? So with that being said, it was an affair. If you guys haven't noticed, it was an affair. Let's go ahead and go to the wife. And this isn't like to stir up the drama. This is just to show the situations that happens in the church. And when we don't operate like a church, when we don't, I don't want to say be up in people's business, but it's important to know people's business so that we can hold them accountable if we're supposed to be living this life together. Right? So let's go ahead and see what the wife had to say. Essentially, I'm assuming that it was the wife that came out in public about everything that's going on. So let's see what it is she had to say in regards to this.
Y'all, let's play a game of put a finger down. Put a finger down if you met a man last year and he was just the best man in the world, or at least you thought he was. He was so intentional. He was so sweet. He was so thoughtful. He moved with purpose. He knew what he wanted, and he didn't play about you. You all dated for 9 months, and he asked you to marry him in April. Put a finger down if he announced your engagement in front of his entire congregation on Easter. Put a finger down if 2-3 days go by and you find out that your fiance had been cheating on you for about a good length of your relationship. Not only had he been cheating on you, but he was cheating on you with a member of the church. He also had another relationship with another woman from the church, but it wasn't sexual. Didn't find this information out until after you all were engaged. You were livid. You were furious. You gave the ring back. You called off the engagement. You called off the wedding that you were planning. You canceled the dress that you ordered. All of this stuff. This man begged and pleaded and begged and pleaded and begged and pleaded and begged and pleaded for your forgiveness. After some time and work and like all of this stuff, and you making demands, and he met those demands, you thought to yourself, okay, like I asked him to do X, Y, and Z, he did them, he is serious. You decide that you want to work on this relationship and that you want to be in a relationship
Took him back.
and all this other stuff. So you decide still to move to Minneapolis, uproot you and your son, leave your job behind, leave your family and your friends, and you come here to be this man's wife. You all get married and everything seems to be okay. You all have like little knickknacks, there's everything that you go through like as marriages do, but you all are still very intentional with wanting to be together. You get married in August, you go to Italy for your honeymoon in August, and you get pregnant the first day of your honeymoon. Surprise! I am 13 weeks pregnant. You all get into an altercation in October. You decide that you are going to go ahead and take some time apart, so you go home for a week. You go home, and that's when you actually found out that you were pregnant. You end up coming back to Minneapolis. You all are working everything out, trying to at least, and then surprise, he moved out. He got an apartment. Thanksgiving comes around and he's back at the house. He still has his apartment, but he's been home every single day playing house. We've been eating together as a family. He's been taking your son to school. He's been coming back home in the evenings. He's been sleeping here. Like everything's been fine. Then last Saturday, you all get into an argument over a napkin. You get into an argument over a napkin, and he decides that he is going to leave. And you tell him, look, you're married. You can't keep leaving every single time you get upset. Married people don't have second residences. He decides to leave anyway. So you text him and you let him know that this is the last time that he will be able to walk out on you, your son, and your unborn child. You go to church that next day. Everything is fine. I mean, you are saving face. You're speaking to everyone. You're smiling. After church, you go up to your husband and tell him how great of a job that he preached, and that you asked him if he wanted to go get some brunch afterwards, or like what his plans were. And he said that he had a headache and he was going to go lay down. So I said, okay. So my son, we go to brunch with a friend, and we come back and your husband is not here. Sunday evening, you try to get in contact with your husband, and he still doesn't answer the phone. Monday comes around, and you are sitting on the couch, folding clothes, doing laundry, and watching the P. Diddy documentary. The doorbell rings. You think that it is a package that your stepmom sent you all for Christmas, so you're not in a rush to answer the door because delivery people are going to sit it down. The doorbell rings again, so you get up because you are naked on the couch trying to fold laundry, because the only clothes that fit are the clothes that you are washing because you're pregnant. Find something, you throw it on, you go to the door. It is a woman there. She asks, are you Tyler? You say yes. She hands you a paper and says, you've been served. I open the paper, and it's divorce papers. You're so distraught. You don't know what's going on, why he would serve divorce papers, what happened to the point that divorce papers would be served. There was no conversation being had. You are literally a mess. You all finally have a conversation a few days later, and you're like, you know what? I need you to be honest with me. Are you messing with anybody? And he tells you that he's been involved with a woman for the past month. Not any woman, but one of the two women that he was involved with in the beginning of your relationship.
Okay. So this is tragic, y'all. This is not an ideal situation that I would want anybody in. I wouldn't want to wish this on anybody, especially those that claim to follow Jesus, those that claim to worship God. I wouldn't wish this on them because there are lives that are being affected, and now a new unborn child that's going to be fatherless because the father did what he did. It wasn't even her that served the divorce papers, it was him. Unwarranted divorce papers at that. So now, of course, it takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. There may be some reasons, whatever reasons may be, that he acted the way that he did and ultimately continue on with the divorce. He mentioned something about his safety. Lord only knows what exactly that means. I have absolutely no clue, but that's for him and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you decided to put a ring on this woman's finger. If that's what you did. You decided that you were going to marry her. You impregnated her. And while doing all this, you were messing around with somebody else, the person that you were messing around with before. Now, one can say it was her fault for taking him back. But why wouldn't, and this is the tricky thing when it comes to relationships. This is the scary thing when it comes to relationships. Why wouldn't somebody be convinced that their significant other wasn't going to change? Why would I not think that they're going to change? They're a pastor, for Pete's sake. They're a pastor or a working pastor or whatever it is may be the case. Why wouldn't I believe that even though you messed up, it was just a mess up and I'm just going to take you back because you understand what you did and you won't do it again just for you to do it again? We're humans, guys. What I want everybody to understand that we are still humans. And when it comes to this walk in this faith, yes, we make mistakes, but we must learn from these mistakes. And if we don't learn from these mistakes, then there's more going on within us that we're not realizing that we need to realize quick before we affect somebody else's life. It is very important and imperative that we do so. And it makes it even worse when we're in these leadership type positions, because now we're definitely affecting other people, the congregation, with our actions, even though we just read the requirements for somebody that's going to be in this high level position. The self-control is what rings out the most here. And you clearly show that you lack self-control, but you became a pastor. This is where guidance, this is where accountability comes into play, and people knowing who it is that you are truly before putting yourself in such an esteemed position. You guys know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, all we could do is just pray for them. It's a very unfortunate situation for the wife, I guess soon to be ex-wife, unless God can intervene and something works out. But even then, some people are like, oh, they shouldn't need to work things out. He done messed up again and stuff like that. Then some people are going to say forgiveness. It's a whole situation, guys. It's a whole situation in which we should not be putting ourselves in from the get-go just so that we don't get to this point. Guys, life is something, man. Life is something. I truly pray for him. I definitely don't think his minor or short leave should not be short. Not for this type of situation. It should not be short, bro. You were messing around before, and then you were messing around while you were engaged and into your marriage. No, bro. This isn't a short leave type thing, man. You need some spiritual guidance and some self-control at the end of the day. And whatever what was going on with her that kind of led you to this point, because again, it takes two to tango. May she be given spiritual guidance as well. May she be given spiritual guidance as well. But y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Peace.